All right, guys, gals, friends, family, Steve Patton with General Patton Bushcraft, back with you with another super exciting video. Today's video is the recap of Alone Season 10, Episode 6, titled King's Gambit. Stay tuned. Okay, friends, this is Episode 6 of Season 10 of Alone. And a sudden shift in the weather tests the participants to the max, friends. Now, you know these shows always start out with a famous quote, and this show's quote is, quote, "When patterns are broken, new worlds emerge." And that's by Thule Kufferberg. All right, friends, the show starts on day 24 now. There's 5 people remaining. It's about 8:30 in the morning. It's 50 degrees outside, and the show goes right to Taz. Taz makes another gill net. Also, he makes this giant moose call with some giant birch bark. You guys got to remember, his gill net got messed up in the wind, friends. It all tangled up. Matter of fact, it just disappeared. So he makes another gill net, checks the food cache. It's working good. They're just small maggots on his meat that he's got up in the food cache. And he deploys that new gill net. This time he had to make it out of paracord, friends. All right, day 24, 11:27 now a.m. And the show goes to Wyatt. Wyatt checks his gill net, and it's a tangled mess, friends. But he does catch a nice lake trout. He goes ahead and works on tying a new gill net, and this new gill net is a thing of beauty, friends. And he has a nice stack of firewood in the background while he's tying that gill net. Ties a real nice gill net. All right, still day 24, and it's about 3:24 in the afternoon, and the show goes back to Taz. He checks his gill net, nothing in the gill net. So he says he's going to change his strategy, and he's going to change towards hunting a little more, friends. Hunting for big game. So he goes on a hike, sees a grouse, takes 2 shots, misses, friends, loses both arrows. Now, friends, participants only get 9 arrows. So good on Taz. He finds the first arrow, then he finds the second arrow. So good on Taz. He takes another shot. We see him take another shot. This time he nails a spruce grouse. Taz is 35 years old from Massachusetts, USA, and his strategy is to adjust and adapt to his environment. And he nails another grouse, this time a rough grouse. The show moves on to day 25, 11:24 in the morning. And the show goes to Wyatt. He's 51 years old from Ontario, Canada. He sets that gill net in the lake, then works on gathering firewood. And he tells us it's a lazy logger, taking it easy, old Wyatt, the 51-year-old from Ontario, Canada. All right, the show moves on to day 26, 3:07 in the morning, early in the morning, and we say Mikey. Mikey can't sleep, and he tells us, welcome to insomnia. So he shows us those 2 nice rocks that he had. One of the rocks has got a kind of a rough surface on it. Another rock is super smooth, and they're great for sharpening his knives. So he shows us how he does that. He finally gets a tiny bit of sleep. He sleeps until 8:45 in the morning. He gets up, but he's super tired. He forages for some good amount of berries, friends. We see him find about almost a pound of berries, friends. Finds a piece of plywood, about 3 pieces of plywood with some nails in it. And we see him build that nice triangular door for his shelter. So good on Mikey. All right, day 26, 11:37 in the morning, the show goes back over to Wyatt, and Wyatt gets a monster pike in that net. I'm telling you, friends, this thing's about maybe between 15 and 20 pounds. It's a gigantic monster pike. It's about 10 days worth of food. He smokes that giant pike down by the lake, so good on Wyatt. He's looking very strong. All right, day 27 now, and the show moves over to Melanie. 8:22 in the morning, she makes a wind wall around her fire pit. She's collecting reindeer moss, friends. She's double boiling this reindeer moss and laying it out to dry. She wants to use it to supplement if she can get some protein. That reindeer moss doesn't taste good, so double boiling it and then laying it out to dry, she can finally eat it. She takes off hiking looking for some mushrooms, and she finds a big berry patch, friends. She hikes about 1.75 miles away from her shelter and finds a nice berry patch, so good on Melanie. All right, friends, it's day 27 now, 2:34, and the show moves over to Alan. It's 40 degrees out there, and he's catching lots of fish, the 51-year-old from British Columbia, Canada. He shows us that he's cooking up eggs, liver, heart, kidney for breakfast. And I don't know what he eats, a spleen or a kidney or something. He said it tasted nasty, that he shouldn't have eaten it. But he likes to eat all the organs first off of those fish. He makes a nice teepee style smoker and goes back to fishing. He's got a lot of fish that he needs to smoke, friends. And Alan tells us that he's feeling settled in. He catches a big lake trout, but the spool of line falls in the lake. Oh my goodness. So Alan has to strip down. That's his only spool of line that he has to fish, friends. He has to strip down and go in the lake. It's cold. Go after that line, that reel of line, friends. And he gets that spool of line, finds it. And his strategy is to smoke the good amount of fish that he has, friends. And that he wants to catch a fish, a fresh fish each and every day to eat off of. All right, friends, show moves on to day 28, 4:27 p.m. Back over to Taz. Taz is working on finishing the Spruce Grouse Lodge, as he calls it. Decides to bunker down and play some chess. And friends, that's where we get the title of this show, King's Gambit. That's what that means. That's a beginning of a chess game. That's a couple moves, and they're called a King's Gambit. Taz made a nice chess set. Storm is coming. It's very windy, and we see everybody just hunkering down in their shelters. Day 29, 1:07 a.m. Mikey, 32-year-old from Georgia, USA, and he tells us, welcome to insomnia. He still has that insomnia. Now, the wind speed is 32 miles an hour. It's 7:30 in the morning, and we get to see Wyatt. And Wyatt says, hey, it's so windy. This is the first time his hat's almost blown off. He's got a nice, tight-fitting hat, and the 32-mile-an-hour wind darn near blows it off. Show bounces back over to Taz. The wind is 36 miles an hour now, and the trees are cracking. The show bounces over to Melanie, the 55-year-old from New York, USA, and we got 41-mile-an-hour winds with rain. And the show bounces back over to Alan. Wind is messing up his smoker. It's 48 miles an hour with rain, and all 5 of the last participants are hunkered down in their shelters. It's nasty weather, friends. Next day, Mikey shoots a grouse. Mikey found some jars on day 12. We see him shoot that grouse. He goes back to eat it. He's super hungry. And he makes some charcoal, or I mean some ink, friends. He mixes some charcoal and some water in those jars that he found. And he writes a letter, and he reads it, a letter to his wife, Hazel. This might be the first letter that we've seen written on Alone, friends. So good on Mikey. Now the show bounces to day 30, 8:49 a.m. Back over to Melanie. It's rainy, very windy, and during the night, the wind destroyed that wood shelter that she made. Her woodshed gets destroyed. She had that woodshed tied together with some wool cordage that she took from her sweater. So we see her get up, deconstruct that woodshed, stacks the wood. She's going to rebuild it later. We see her that night sitting in her shelter, friends, Melanie, the 55-year-old from New York, getting very emotional. She's missing her man terribly. Does a bit of crying. She makes a secret recording on one of the SD cards. She doesn't want to see the medical team see her sad, friends. She's trying to hide that from the medical team. Now the show bounces to day 30, 2:28 in the morning. We see Alan, day 2 of rainy weather. Excuse me, 2:28 in the afternoon. Alan, second day of rainy weather, and his smoker's not doing too good. So he works on a new lure. Old lure has been working great, but he wants to make a new one. He tells us the name of that first lure, Lake Trout Baby number 1. We see him make Lake Trout Baby number 2. The wind dies down, friends, and we see Alan go down to the lake shore, tries his luck at fishing, and Lake Trout Baby 2, he gets 3 good bites, but all of them fall off, friends. So Lake Trout Baby number 2's not doing too good, friends. And that's where the show ends, and that's where my recap ends, friends. This has been episode 6 recap. This is the official recap of episode 6 of Alone season 10, titled King's Gambit, friends. All right, before you leave the channel, please consider subscribing. Bang that bell icon, and in that drop-down menu, do select all so you get notified of my next exciting video, friends. Hey, also, I need a favor. I'm out here in Arizona, friends, and we're on week 3 of excessive heat warning. It's brutal out here, friends. I need prayer. We need this heat wave to break. We need God to break this excessive heat wave warning that we're in out here in Arizona, friends. All right, as always, God is good, God is great. I'll see y'all on the next video. Already got a date.